RFK Jr. named as head of HHS. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm going to start off by saying it doesn't get better than that. America is sick, fat, and disgusting at this particular point. I'm just going to call it out. And I know that there's plenty of people that have spent a very, very good amount of time making sure that we don't point out the fact that people are fat, overweight, obese. Take it how you want to take it. It's not an attack on anyone. It's a reality of a situation. In our country, as far as health, is gross, to put it mildly. This is a good day. This is a good thing. Say what you want about Trump. Say what you want to say about anybody. Say what you want to say about RFK Jr. and this idea that he's a crazy conspiracy vaccine anti-vaxxer guy. Go ahead and say that. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about why this is a good day and why this should fill you with hope and optimism so far. In everything that's happened, in all of the appointments that have taken place in the last week, this is the one I was actually waiting for. We're going to get into it. Time to Talk podcast. Welcome to the Time to Talk. I appreciate you being here. If you found me somehow, that's great, and the algorithm is working, and this whole machine is starting to kick in. That's a good thing. So join us. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I put up new content, and you guys don't miss anything. This is very important. We are going to grow. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to talk about things that matter. It's going to be politics. It'll be trending topics and entertainment and more Diddy news and stuff like that. So let's get into it. All right. So this is a great day. I was about to do yesterday, as a matter of fact, Thursday, I was going to do a show where I talked about all of the current nominations for Trump's cabinet. They've been coming in. Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, everybody. Okay, Huckabee, Peter Hegseth. I wanted to do an entire thing. I might have touched base on it recently, but I wanted to do wait until all the nominations are in. And I was also going to discuss what I'm really waiting for, though, is whether or not RFK Jr. is going to have a legitimate position in the Trump administration, whether it was just smoke being blown at us and Trump using RFK for the time being. So whether or not he'd have an actual real role, a real position, or he would just be some sort of an advisor behind the scenes and he's going to be controlled somehow. But turns out that's not the case. So I didn't even do the video yesterday. I had technical issues and scheduling problems, so never even got to put the video up. And I'm actually glad that it happened that way, because when I found out about this, when this happened, the nomination was announced yesterday, I was thrilled. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to dedicate the whole show to this. So let's look at Trump's announcement. I am thrilled to announce Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as United States Secretary of Health and Human Services, HHS. For too long, Americans have been crushed by this industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health. No lies told. The safety and health of all Americans is the most important role of any administration, and HHS will play a big role in helping ensure that everybody will be protected from harmful chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceutical products, and food additives that have contributed to the overwhelming health crisis in this country. Mr. Kennedy will restore these agencies to the traditions of gold standard scientific research and beacons of transparency to end the chronic disease epidemic and to make America great and healthy again. Now, clearly, Trump didn't write that. He's got his staff people putting out these tweets. I think that's evident, right? Otherwise, it would have just been like, Robert F. Kennedy, I'm nominating him HHS. Let's make America healthy. Let's do it big. Let's do it better than anybody else. Let's make everybody healthy again. But that was a good tweet. His staff put out a good tweet. And they said everything that anybody with a brain. Again, hate Trump. Think whatever you think about RFK Jr. because you don't know anything about him, right? And you're just going off mainstream media and the way they vilified him, and unjustifiably so, right? Say what you want to say. But that statement about where we are in America and making it healthy and getting rid of chemicals and pollutants in our food and making our children safe and healthy, who disagrees with that? I dare you to get in the comments. If anyone get in the comments especially if you're an RFK Jr. hater, like you just can't stand the guy, and a Trump hater. I want you to get in the comments and justify how any of that tweet would rub you the wrong way. Like, what could you say about it? Like, what's wrong with America getting rid of pollutants and pesticides and all the agency corruption and all that stuff, which we're going to get into in a minute as well. But let's look at RFK's tweet. Thank you at Real Donald Trump and your staffers for eloquently writing this tweet. For your leadership and courage. I'm committed to advancing your vision to make America healthy again. Now, again, I just want to remind you, if even if it's not Trump's vision, even if it's coming from somewhere else, I don't care where it's coming from. It's actually being put into motion right here. We have a generational opportunity to bring together the greatest minds in science, medicine, industry, and government to put an end to the chronic disease epidemic. I look forward to working with the more than 8,000 employees at HHS to free the agencies from the smothering cloud of corporate capture so they can pursue their mission to make Americans once again the healthiest people on earth. Together, we will clean up corruption, stop the revolving door between industry and government, and return our health agencies to their rich tradition of gold standard, evidence-based science. I will provide Americans with transparency and access to all the data so they can make informed choices for themselves and their families. My commitment to the American people is to be an honest public servant. Let's go. There you have it. Doesn't get better than that. Let's talk about RFK for a second. Okay, so first of all, HHS, that is basically overlooking a ton of other agencies, including the FDA, CDC, National Institute of Health, which, mind you, are the National Institute, NIH, are the ones that are in bed with the big pharma companies and pushing vaccines and all the stuff that they do. Right? I just want to make that clear. There's also a bunch of other agencies that he handles, Medicare and Medicaid funding, all sorts of stuff. Okay. Now, the hate. Let's deal with the hate. Let's deal with the elephant in the room, as they say. Let's just get right to the point, right? The situation with RFK Jr., I've had conversations with people in my own family who say the dumbest stuff when it comes to, as soon as you bring up RFK Jr., oh, he's a moron. Oh, yeah, he's an anti-vaxxer. Oh, yeah, the bear and the worm in his brain. Is that all you got? Are those your talking points? Those are your talking points? Where'd you get those from? CNN? Where did you get those from? They haven't platformed RFK Jr. They have specifically blacklisted this guy from any kind of real programming anywhere that the Americans who don't do any of their own research would actually be likely to watch, right? Like they that's what they're watching. They're watching CNN. They're looking at the major headlines, ABC, NBC. They're all part of the same machine. And they've done nothing to put RFK Jr. in the spotlight to challenge him on any of his particular research or any of the statements that he's made. They've simply have cherry-picked a few things here and there and labeled this guy some crazy, crazy lunatic who's got a ton of issues when it comes to his personal life and other things. They've demonized him and made him sort of a threat to America and vaccines and people and our health. And it's all nonsense. And I'm sorry, but unless you're somebody who's gone down the rabbit hole and discovered that, no, he's actually just questioning things. Shouldn't we be questioning things? That's what science is, by the way, in case you're wondering, in case you're still on the fence, you're one of those random people who believes that we should have just listened to Fauci. Fauci is to science. That's not science. Science is questioning things. Science is saying, hey, we should probably try to figure something out. That's what science is. So to put this guy in a category of a nutcase because you don't know anything about him other than the headlines that you've gotten from your ridiculous legacy media companies, which again are owned by the very companies that completely find him to be an enemy, a threat to their very existence and to their pocketbooks. This man has spent his time, his life, dedicated to being an environmental attorney, cleaning up the environment, including my very own, the New York City, the Hudson River. That's what he's done. He's done a ton of work and dedicated his life to the health and safety of America. You can't hate that. You can be ignorant and not know what he's really done, and you can read just headlines, but that would make you, again, a moron. If you want to be a moron, continue to be a moron. Go ahead. Otherwise, I suggest you sit back, find something to do and learn something. Which I want to go into some of the hate, right? I want to look at some of the hate. Let's look at this, for example. Let's look at this little exchange here on CNN.
If we're being intellectually honest, there's really no good reason why Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., should be HHS secretary. An advisor, a confidant, somebody who talks to the president and advises, but there's no managerial experience in his resume. There's nothing that says he is qualified to do this job that is in charge of the health of all of us, all these different lanes. If he has views and has insights around food sources, around vaccines, then those should be given in advisory roles.
Why?
Because
what were the qualifications of the previous ones?
Well, I think it's important to always remember that you put yourself. Say that again?
What were the management qualifications? I mean, Xavier Becerra.
I'm not talking about the previous. I'm looking forward.
But you're calling into question whether he could actually do this job, and I think it's
absolutely. I think America is now, and I think
it's important to discuss it because Xavier Becerra was just a lawyer and a politician with no management experience.
So does two wrongs make a right?
Sylvia Burwell was a Walmart lobbyist. Donna Shalala was a university person. Look,
RFK Jr. is a nut.
Okay, so that's different than what you just said. You just said he doesn't possess the requisite managerial experience, but then we get to the real issue here, which is you want to insult the man, which is your right to do because you opposed him in the election. But you, doctor, are raising the issues that he has been raising, and I think they're appropriate questions to raise. I don't know whether he can be confirmed or not. The vaccine stuff at the table is obviously going to be the flashpoint of this hearing. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you one thing. This whole issue of the CDC and these public health agencies, look, public trust in the health regime in this country is as low as it's ever been.
But why?
Because of COVID.
Right.
Because of school closures. Because of mask mandates. Because this country was... But let me just finish. Because this country was drugged through a bunch of condescending and heavy-handed mandates that all turned out to be garbage, and that's why it's low, and the questions are valid.
And RFK is the answer to all of that.
Yeah, but RFK helped promote the assault on the CDC that lowered the disinformation that led to more than a million deaths, Scott. More than 1 million deaths in the United States, higher than any other industrialized nation per capita. That's the result of failed policies, the demonization of the conspiracy theories.
Whose policies?
All right, under the Trump administration.
John,
I love when people want to be intellectually honest and they lack the intellect and the honesty to do either. I find it hysterical. And if we look at another clip, I want to look at this clip with Jillian Michaels. Listen to what she said.
Live a simple, clean lifestyle, then they're not going to make as much money and they're not going to have as much power in Washington and throughout the rest of the country. It's really about power, isn't it?
Well, it's about power and raw economic incentive. And as much as we can suggest that it's simple, it's not easy, and it's not easy by design. And in fact, it's called structural violence. And it's this collaboration of this toxic quartet, if you will, of the way big farming proliferates these cheap toxic calories. Big food picks up those calories, and they tinker with it a bit more with their food scientists to make it more addictive, to make it omnipresent. Then Big Pharma catches us on the other side and starts treating all of our sicknesses with all their diseases. And we won't even touch on big insurance and how they play a role because there isn't enough time. But the bottom line is, look at the world. It's this simple. Infertility, highest ever. Early onset cancer diagnosis up 79% over the last 3 decades. 74% of adults in America are overweight and obese. We need change. We need it now. What they're doing isn't working, and it's not working on purpose because it's profitable for the very few. And it's bankrupting Americans. It's the #1 cause of bankruptcy is a health-related condition, and it's killing them. If you're afraid of RFK, you've lost your mind. Take a back seat, let the professionals in this space handle it, and thank God when it starts improving.
There you go. Take a back seat and thank God when it starts improving. This is where we're at. Now, again, let's switch back to some more of the hate, and let's look at Stephen Colbert, who seems to think that he's the man of America, and his audience is all, Let's take it. Let's this one I actually find hysterical because of the people.
Because just moments before this taping, Donald Trump continued his exhaustive search for the most qualified people in his line of sight And he has chosen anti-vax Nepo maniac Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I know. No.
Listen to the audience. Like listen to how ridiculous the audience is, right? Like they're just morons. Sorry if you were in the audience, but if you're one of the audience members that weren't booing, then I apologize to you and I applaud you. But if you were there with the whole, boo, and immediately, like, I don't know if they held up boo signs on purpose, and the audience just instinctively, like, went again, oh my God, we can't believe RFK Jr., are you kidding me? Boo. Morons. But who's his audience? Like, who is he appealing to? Like, let's think about that for a second.
I know. That sounds insane, but we should all keep an open mind, because that's how the worm gets in. You got to leave the fontanelle soft. It gets in through the fontanelle, So RFK Jr. is now in charge of our health. Exactly what everyone voted for.
Yeah, and mind you, most of that audience is overweight and sick. Actually, probably 75% of that audience are a bunch of overweight, sick people.
Surely this will lower the price of eggs. Now, we don't have a lot of information yet, but what we have is already too much. Besides being a vaccine denier, RFK Jr. spread a racist conspiracy that COVID-19 was ethnically targeted to spare Jewish and Chinese people. So, good news to everyone of Chinese or Jewish descent who got COVID-19. No, you didn't. Okay? Think about that. Now, what else is going on? What else? Bobby Jr. has also said chemicals in the water could be turning children gay. That is insane. That is nonsense. Water does not turn a person gay. Although I gotta say, Jason Momoa and Aquaman came pretty darn close.
That might have been that might have been the only humorous part of that whole thing. But look at the hate. Not, hey, look, this guy. I mean, again, it's Colbert, so what do you expect? It's not like he's going to be rational. He's not going to say anything. I mean, making a couple of jokes might have been sort of okay, but the idea that it is a straight attack on the man's integrity and the idea that we should be healthy. Like, he's not focusing on the idea of, hey, look, maybe if he cleans up the country and we can feel better, then who knows? And that's what we're going to need to judge this on. So for all you haters, for all you people who don't know a single thing about RFK Jr., all right, the people who do not know his research, the people who didn't bother reading The Real Anthony Fauci, that book on Bill Gates, Big Pharma, the global war on democracy and public health. If you did not read that book, which hasn't been challenged by anybody, it's been New York Times, Amazon bestseller, Barnes and Noble. If you haven't taken the time to do any of the research to find out about this guy, you don't really have a place at the table. You shouldn't even be part of this discussion. And like I said, a good percentage of those people are overweight and sick, or you have family that's overweight and sick, or you're all overweight and sick. This is a good day. This is a good thing. This is what we're looking for with the Trump administration, right? We can sit here and complain about which of the cabinet members are going to be, anti-interventionist and who's going to be pro-war and giving more money to Ukraine and giving more money to Israel. Who's going to back them? That's a difficult field to navigate. That's difficult. We can't put our finger on that. We don't know. Tulsi Gabbard is anti-interventionist. Do we know? She's not a pawn of Putin, in spite of what people say. Matt Gaetz is kind of against going into more wars and doing things. He supports a lot of like the anti-interventionist stuff. So he might have his issues as well. We don't know. But again, because Trump is owned by Israel, we don't know those things. But this is a good thing. If RFK Jr. can shake up the CDC, the FDA, get chemicals and pollutants out of our food, you realize that there's like 5 or 6 ingredients in McDonald's French fries in America, but in Europe, if you go to London and get fries, it's like 2 or 3 ingredients, maybe 2. They used to fry McDonald's fries in tallow. Now it's industrial seed oils. This is a good day. This is a good thing. This is something to cheer about if you're actually an American. If you're actually one of these people that were waving a flag for democracy and claiming how we're trying to get America back and we're trying to save it and all that good stuff, this is something you get behind. Period. Let's look at some of the, I want to look at some of the funnier tweets that came out revolving around his nomination, because there are some really hysterical ones, some memes and such. Let's take a look at some of those. Gunther Eagleman, I'd say RFK Jr. is a huge upgrade from this. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the former head of HHS. Iridium, it's a bad day to be a seed oil. Oh, I love it. President Trump has now delivered us more upgrades than Apple and Android engineers combined. Look at this guy. He's ripped. It's insane. He's ripped. Who is going to mess with this? Who wants to have, I just don't understand. America, this is a good thing. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Oh, I can't wait to hear. Because I want to know how at all this could be a bad thing. The only possible way that you're anti-RFK Jr. is if, again, you are stuck on your legacy media headlines and that's the only thing you know about him. If you only know that one thing, then yeah, you're going to feel like he's a nutcase and he's anti-vax, which he's not anti-vax. He's just somebody saying, don't you think we should look into a couple of things? Don't you think we should check this out? Shouldn't we question why we're all sick and why we're getting fat? He wants to shake up these agencies and get rid of all of the people that are captured by these corporate interests and by big pharma, which controls, you know what the budget is? Like the amount of money that's spent to make you sicker and sicker and sicker. And these people are lining their pockets and getting richer by the second. We need somebody to separate the people who have an interest in a pharma company and are making money. They should not be part of the FDA. They should not be part of the CDC. We have to have independent people who are doing real work in the interest of America and America's health to make America healthy again. That is not a bad thing to say. You shouldn't be ashamed to say that. And whether you're a Trump supporter or a Harris supporter, whoever you are, just know that this is a good day. This is a good thing. Let's just hope that that he gets confirmed. If they want to challenge this man, now is their time to challenge him in front of everybody. Put up a good fight, question his research, you can't question his integrity, but question his research, question the data, put a challenge to him and let him fight it out. Give him a platform and allow him to have his time and his fight. And I'm seriously hoping and I'm praying that he gets through. That's my personal opinion. That's it. Time to Talk podcast, RFK Jr., HHS. It's a good thing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit the like button if you want to be healthy and you like a healthy America. I really appreciate that. Again, it helps the algorithm and helps things grow here. We're going to grow. We're going to get to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Let's get to 10,000 by the end of November. Let's get to 50,000 by the end of November. Don't forget the notification bell so that you know when I put up new content and I start doing live streams. We can probably schedule something once a week on a live stream and I can hear from you all and we can talk and work it all out. All right, that's it. Time to Talk podcast. I will see you on the next one. Peace.